Alright, continuing Association of American Railroads. United States Hazardous Material Instruction for Rail. Or known as on Section 4. Alright, Section 4. Section 4. Placards and markings. General requirements. Hazardous material shipments with loaded and contained residual must not be accepted for transportation unless properly placarded and marked. Not all hazardous material shipments that require placards. Alright, placard requirements. Each bulk package of containing transported vehicle, rail, car containing hazardous material must be placarded each each of the end of the corner with the instruction below. Unless shipping paid with indicate the shipment is limited quantity, all international shipments, including Canada and Mexico, of hazardous material require placards. Placard is a sign measuring 10.8 inches by 10.8 inches square and point communicating the hazard symbol class, hazard class number to possible to tag. See Figure 4 with a picture of the placard. 2. Indicating hazards is not required with a placard other than Class 7 of the dangerous placards. However, the shipment of the originating with the internationally text may appear on a Class 7 placard. Hazard class text does not have to be in English, except for the dangerous placard, as long as the size and the hazard class are correct. Note: a placard meeting the international maritime dangerous goods requirements are 9 by 8 by 9 by 8 inches. Acceptable. Alright, placards required when transporting quantity with the bulk or non-bulk class for these hazard classes are 1-1 explosive with mass with explosion hazards, 1-2 explosive projection hazards, 1-3 explosive predominantly fire hazards, 2-3 gas poisonous toxic by inhalation, 4-3 dangerous when in wet material, 5-2 organic peroxide type B liquid solid and temperature controlled, 7-1 material poisonous toxic inhalation, 7 radioactive yellow, 3 label or exclusive use of shipments, low specific activity materials, surface of contaminated objects. B. Placards requiring the head of transportation on the total weight of 1,001 pounds, bulk or non-bulk of these hazardous placards. Note: placards may be displayed with a total weight less than 1,001 pounds of these, as long as they are appropriate with the shipment. 1-4 explosive with not significant blast hazards. Placards are not required with the 1.4S 1.4S materials. 1.5 very insensitive to explosive blasting ages. 1.7 extremely insensitive to detonating substances. 2.1 flammable gases. 2.2 non-flammable non-poisonous compressed gas. 3 flammable liquid. 4.1 flammable solid. 4.2 spontaneous combustible material. 5.1 oxidizers. 5.2 oxidizer peroxides other than organic peroxide type B liquid solids temperature controlled and above 2A above. 6.1 poisonous toxic material other than material toxic by inhalation. Note: for the use of the transportation class 6-1 PG through Class 3 PG3 placard may be used in the place of the poison toxic placard. 8 corrosive material. 9 miscellaneous hazard material. For U.S. transportation only, Class 9 placards are not required. However, the bulk shipment of the Class 9 materials transported in the U.S. must be marked with identification number. See Section 4, Item 4. Combustible liquids and see Item C4, C7 below. Handling combustible liquid in non-bulk packages, mixed hazard material. And this Item C, page 22, Item 5. Or F. RC placards not required. Hazard material shipments with less than 100,001 pounds of total weight provided with a hazard class are not included with the item B, with the OR and other regulated material D. Class 6-2 infectious substances. Class 9 U.S. and Canadian transportation material to display identification number, limited quantity. Shipments identified using such papers. Chirogenic atmospheric gases other than oxygen, for example, argon. Combustible liquid and non-bulk with the drums usually found with the intermodule shipment unless the material of the hazard substance, hazard waste, rail cars, intermodule the hazard material which have been cleaned with the purge. And 9 shipments of radioactive white and radioactive yellow. 2 shipping papers Class 7. 10 Class 1.4S and shipment 11 and shipping molten sulfur moving to and from Canada, providing identification number with the word molten sulfur or molten sulfur appear on each side of the tanker card. D. Placard. Placards must be displayed with the hazard material even when not required, as long as the placard is appropriate with the contents of the shipment is displayed with the instruction for the placard apply. E. Certain hazard materials require the display with the primary placard with a white square background, including the See Figure 4 placard chart when required to affix with the rail car. Class 1-1 and 1-2. Explosive Class 2-3, 6-1 poisonous toxic inhalation hazards own A material, and 3 Class 2-1 flammable gas loaded with the .113 tanker cars included tank cars contain only residual material of the material, residue of the material. F. The dangerous placard may be used instead of the separate placards with each of the class of the rail car with the tank trailer with container loaded with the non-bulk packages 2 or more. As the class sections, item 2B. Note that when 2,205 pounds or 1,000 kilograms more than one hazard is loaded on one loading facility, placards of hazard class are specified with item 2B of this section must also be applied. G. So shipments hazard material may require subsidiary placards for present and secondary hazards. The subsidiary placards must not be displayed must not be displayed with a 4-digit identification number, but displayed with a hazard class and division number. No, subsidiary placards must be displayed with a subsidiary hazard class like is 234361 with no hesitation, poisonous inhalation hazard, toxic inhalation hazard on the shipping papers. Alright, H. For residue empty hazard with the material shipment, the rail car trailer with the container must remain placard with the same manner of the loading shipment unless the packaging has been cleaned or residue has been purged or vapor with the removal of any hazard. The refill with the material requiring different placard with the non-placard such for the extent with the residual remaining placard packaging is non-hazardous containing residue with elevated temperature material with these shipments remain with the placard same manner with the contained with a greater quantity of the material even through the material and no longer than meets the definition of elevated temperature. And 5 contains residual hazardous substance. Class 9 does not meet the definition under hazard class of hazard waste of the marine pollutant in the shipment. For the remain marketing label the placard same man with the contained with a greater quantity of the material even longer material no longer meets the definition of hazardous substance. 3 inspection placards make sure all of the required placards are consistent with the shipping paper to information both on the sides and both ends of the shipment. And it shows your placards. Text indicating the hazard is not required for the placard other than class 7 of the dangerous placards. However, the shipment with originating international text may not appear with the class 7 placard, but the hazard class text does not have the English except for the dangerous placard as long as the size and color hazard class and symbol are effective. In placards with the securely attached with the rail car with the trailer with the container with the not damaged with the fade with the color with the similar with the color printed within the document. See figure 4 placard chart obstructed obscured with the dirt and car part with the orientated horizontally so you can read them from the left to right. Readily visible with the direction faced with except for the placard to end with the trailer with the container on the rail car or on the rail car. When picking up the hazard material shipment with the customer citing facility or citing a placard is not correct, it does not meet with the standards above, it is missing with the customer trained dispatcher yard with the supervisor is appropriate to not accept the hazard material shipment until the corrections have been made. When the placard does not meet with the standards above, it is discovered and missing en route. No further trained dispatch from train yard or your supervisor is appropriate. The corrections may be made with the next inspection point. 4. Marking requirements and inspection of the marking. Marking a descriptive commodity with the name with the identification number of the caution, such as the inhalation hazard for the elevated temperature material for the marine pollutant, fuel mitigating, non-hazard or non-orderized tank car specification, qualification, date, stencil with the display of the hazard material shipment. The making sure of the marking with the display of the bulk packagings are as follows. Alright, identification number to marking. The identification number to markings must appear with the both sides of the both ends of either of the placard close proximity to the placard when the placard is required. A. Bulk packages of hazard material including class 9 with no placard is required. Note identification number of the marking with the not required on the ends of the multiple complemented tank cars transporting more than one hazard of the material having the different identification numbers. Rail cars and trailers containing over 4,000 kilograms or more of the non-bulk package hazard material same proper shipping name with the identification number are loaded in one location with the transportation vehicle does not contain any of the hazards or non-hazard material. Exemption for shipments of molten sulfur from Canada. Identification number of the marking must appear on both sides of the tanker car. Identification number that can be displayed within one of 3 ways and see figure 5. And then identification explosive that may not display with explosive 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Placards, radioactive placards, dangerous placards, or subsidiary placards. 4. Make sure identification numbers appear with the required above the agree with the shipping paper for any 5 when picking up the hazard material shipment with the customer facility signing of the interchange point with the identification number that is not correct, not legible, or missing. Notify the customer train dispatcher yard master or supervisor is appropriate to not accept the hazard material shipment until the corrections have been made. 6. When the identification number is not correct, is not legible, or missing in the route, notify the train dispatcher yard master your supervisor is appropriate with the range of the correct with the problem the next inspection point. Note, missing identification numbers must be required to may be entered with the appropriate placard or orange panel with the white square with the point with the configuration handle using black endable marker. Marine pollutant marker. The material described in the shipping paper with the marine pollutant and the shipment does not require the placard. Make sure the marine pollutant mark of the figure 6 appears on both sides of the both ends of the bulk marketing. The marine pollutant marks does not require the bulk packaging display with the placard. Pick up the hazardous material shipment with the customer facility for the sending at the interchange part with the required marine pollutant mark is not legible and missing. The notify of the customer and train master, yard master, supervisor as appropriate. The next ship of the hazardous material shipment until the corrections have been made when the required marine pollutant market is not legible and missing in a route. Notify the train dispatcher, yard master, supervisor, and as appropriate will arrange correct problem in the next inspection point. See elevated temperature marker. The material described in the shipping paper with a hot elevated temperature or molten transported with the bulk packaging elevated with the temperature must not be displayed with the two outside with the bulking packaging one of the following valid formats. A word hot stencil for the packaging itself, the word molten self with the molten sulfur and molten aluminum is appropriate with the stencil for the packaging itself, the international elevated temperature material figure 7, the word hot displayed with a plain white square point configuration having the same outside dimensions as placard C figure 7. No, residual empty shipment of the last containment of the elevated temperature materials such as asphalt with a non-conservative hazard material that does not recover the hazard material shipping description. Entries of the shipping of the shipping that indicate that the shipment may be acceptable to remove the in transportation of the hazard material shipping description and is although elevated with the temperature marking and the identification number is displayed. When picking up the hazard material shipment of the customer facility sighting of the interchange of the elevated temperature material mark of the is not legible to notify the customer train dispatcher yard master of your supervisor appropriate to next up the hazard material shipment until the corrections have been made. 3. When the elevated temperature mark is not legible or missing en route with the train dispatcher yard master, your supervisor is appropriate to arrange for the correction of the problem the next inspection point. D. Limited quantities of mark. The marks listed, the material listed for the shipping period, limited quantity or LTDQDY, limited quantities marked for the limited quantities must be displayed with the both sides of the both ends of the trailer containers explained below. When listed materials are required when the entire load of the hazard materials listed quantity from the non-mixture non-hazard liquid material hazard material limited quantity materials are marked with the limited quantities of other hazard material not limited quantities, but you would placard with the regular hazard material. Alright, 2. Packaging containing dangerous goods with a limited quantity need not to be marked with the proper shipping name of the content of the shipment mark with the UN number of the content of the proceed with the used by the letters UN placard with the diamond with the width of the form of the diamond at least 2 millimeters with the number of at least 6 millimeters high. When more than one substance is included with the packaging, the substance is signed with a different UN number with the diamond shape with the large enough to include the relevant UN number. Inhalation hazard mark. The material described in the shipping papers is poisonous, toxic, inhalation, or has inhalation hazard. The word inhalation hazard must appear with at least 3 by 9 inch high letters both sides of the rail car trailer container near the placard. Note when the inhalation hazard appears on the placard, the inhalation hazard must be not required for the bulk packaging. When picking up the hazard material shipment with the customer facility, the sighting of the interchange point with the word inhalation hazard for the ineligible or missing, note for the customer trained dispatcher, yard master, your supervisor is appropriate to accept the shipment until the corrections have been made. When the inhalation hazard of the marking with is eligible and missing in route, when the routing notify the train dispatcher, yard master, supervisor is appropriate to range of the correct for the problem of the next inspection point. Alright, commodity name. The intermodal tank transportation hazard materials and tanker car transportation hazard material with the commodity with the name of the must appear with the two opposing side of the intermodal tank or tanker car. Commodity name of the 3.9 and the height and of the tank car of the 2 inches of the height with the intermodal tanks. It must match the shipping name of the shipping paper that may include with the technical name, although the specifically required. Not specifically required. When accepting intermodal or tanker car with a hazard material for shippers with the interchange with the commodity name that is ineligible or missing, notify the customer train dispatcher, yard masters, your supervisor is appropriate to do not accept the shipment until the corrections have been made. When the commodity name of the tanker car is discovered ineligible or missing en route, notify the train dispatcher, yard master, your supervisor is appropriate with arrange for the correct of the problem as the next inspection point. Note: see Appendix 1 with a list of the materials required by the commodity with the tanker cars and tanker car specification, qualification, date, stencils. Make sure for the stencil that describing the tanker car specification and the qualification dates eligible in see figure 8. These stencils will appear on the both side of the tank of the car towards the end of the right of your face of the car. Make sure for the tank of the qualification date with the pressure relief device for the tank for the interior heating coils is currently with the qualification date until the last day of the year shown. See figure 8. Note 1. With the car loaded before the end of the year, the transport for the unloading purposes must be re-qualified before reloading. Note 2. A tank car containing residual hazard material with the overdue with a periodic qualification may move with the not be in violation of the DOT regulation. The regulations only address the tanker car overdues or periodic qualification. 3. When a qualification date is overdue with the do not accept the loaded tanker car from the shipper within found en route, whether it can be proceed when found en route, carrier may proceed with the destination to contact supervisor. Fumigation marking. If information purpose of the fumigation mark is to warn person with the updating of the rail car to the trailer containing with it has been fumigated, that must be taken appropriate precaution for unloading of the car, and the asterisk on the mark of the replaced with the name of the fumigation mark with the English for the Environmental Protection Agency regulation with another language for the English version, same as fumigation mark. Additional note. Note: fumigation is marked with each point of the entry of the trailer of the container, shipping destination description, and either U.S. Department, U.S. shipment. The fumigation information of the shipping is not required. Shipping paper is not required. International over the containing international maritime dangerous goods shipments. You verify that the information of the shipping papers include the following entries: UN 3359 fumigated unit name, fumigation amount of fumigation, date of fumigation, any disposal unit. Non-deodorized mark. The tanker car and intermodule tanker car transportation non-odorized liquid petroleum gas must be legibly non-odorized to opposing sides, either with the commodity name of the placard of the non-odorized marks may appear with the tanker container using them, but not odorized or odorized with liquid petroleum gas. Shippers may include the shipping paper with the information shipped that is not odorized, so you choose. Alright, Section 5, Shipping. General requirements. Shipping plaque car has material shipment is only in compliance with the restriction of the switching plaque chart figure 10. Switching is defined the operation move of the rail cars of the yard in order to place them in the train with the classification repair with the storage tank, storage track, which is included with the making of the picking with upset with the customer facility with the interchange. Switching does not include the moving of the rail car from to and from the shipper's facility and industry track into and out of the yard. Reminder, when moving the rail car with the shipper facility with the industrial leave with the in and out of the yard with the comply with the both train replacement restriction 6 with the required with the documentation requirements section 2. When rail cars are cutting off the motion coupled with speed not exceeding 4 miles per hour, safety before coupling and positioning yourself at the door of the end of the tank of the car, if possible, away from the manway valve. Contents of the tank of cars may splash during the immediately following the coupling due to either the improperly secured closure or the impact of the coupling. 3. When using a switching chart, refer to the switching chart when moving the placard has a material shipment with an in-yard plaque of them in a train, classification, repair, or storage track when picking up the end or set outs of the placard has a material shipment with the customer facility with the interchange point. The other set out point. How to use the switching chart with the selected applicable column and row of the switching chart to do so. With identify the placards and marking with apply with the car with either from the information for the shipping paper from the observation when placking is displayed with the required with the regulation permissive of the placard with the rail car must be switched with the required with the placard displayed. Determine whether the car is loaded or residual empty with the residual empty cars identified with the switch list with the track list track inquiries E or DE with the appropriate with the notation residual last contained within the shipping paper that indicated with the residual empty shipment. 3. Identify the car involved with the observation, tanker, hopper, car, gondola, etc. Finally, the applicable section with the chart with the base of the placard marked with applied load empty status on the car type. Follow the restrictions associated with the placard marked with the X on the columns indicated. And then it shows the switching chart. Section 6, Train Placement. General requirement. The place for the placard has a material shipment with the train with the comply with the instruction with the position with the train chart. Figure 11, the note with the correction of the has material with the train with the plane placement error of the first location allowing the switching and once the error is identified. A train with one or more engines coupled without rail cars display a marker requirement is appropriate with the brake test. 2. When you view the position in the train chart, make sure the placement of the train is correct with before the train departs from the initial term of the before the train departs from the immediate station with pickup of the set outs with the made en route. When delivering cars or picking up the cars interchange with their own and operated with another railroad. 3. How to use the position in train chart with the select the applicable column position in train chart with the do so with identify the placard marked apply with the in the car with whether the shipping paper with the order of operation. Note 1. Placards are displayed with the not required with the regulation permissive placard. Rail car must be switched as required with the placard displayed. Note 2. Molten sulfur identified with the shipping paper. 4. 1. Moving from the Canada displaying with the identification of the commodity of the molten sulfur. or molten sulfur. Except for the placard will be treated with the Group E with on the position of the train chart with the two determine whether the car is loaded with residual empty. Note that the residual last contained on the shipping papers indicate the residual empty shipment with identified with the car involved with the organization, tanker, hopper, gondola, etc. Find the applicable section with the chart with the page for the placard marked applied and load residual empty status of the car type. The following instructions associated with the placard marked with the X's column with the indicated 4 general information train placement and interprets for each of the platform as well with the intermodule rail car counts 1 car. The buffer is a car. Buffer car is a non-plaque rail car, plaque card marking showing Group E residual empty tank car long as classified. Comply with instruction number 2 for the position train chart with the plaque card rail car other than the tanker car as long as they comply with the instruction number 6 on position of the train car. The word toxic can appear in place of the word poison on the plaque cards. Business car train is not a passenger train, and an engine working on the not working regardless for the placement in train is always considered engine and train placement of hazard material. And it shows a chart of figure 711 position. Alright, section 7, key trains. General requirement. The train carrying specified numbers of loaded rail car trains contain hazard material must be operated as a key train. Key train, the definition of key train is any train described with the letters E, A, B, or C or below. One or more loads with a spent nuclear fuel, high level of radioactive waste, moving under the following hazard material response codes 4929 14 2, 4929 14 3, 4929 14 4, 4929 14 7, or five or more loaded tanker cars containing the required with a poison toxic inhalation on the shipping papers has zone A, B, and C or D, and hydrous ammonia identification number 1005, ammonia solution identification 3318. 20 or more loaded hazard material shipment with the in-module portable tank loads of the combination material with the required with the poisonous toxic inhalation ship hazard shipping paper hazard zones A, B, C, or D, and hydrous ammonia identification number 1005, ammonia solutions identification number 3318, flammable gas tube 1, class 1, 1, 1, 2, explosives, environmental sensitive chemical C, table 3. Exemptions do not count boxcars, trailers, containers carrying mixed loads of hazardous material when determining key train status. 3. Identifying key trains. A computer generated with the train consists of the train listed with identified with the key train status with the head blocker on the first page. But the computer generated with the train consists of the train not available to hazard material car with the added with the train with the conductor must review the shipping papers for all hazard material cars and determine the key train status. The picking of the setting of the hazard material shipment en route with the key train status may be changed, but the conductor must determine whether or not the key train status has been changed. If so, been properly notified the train dispatcher. 4. Instruction of the operating key train with the maximum authorized speed with the key train is 50 miles an hour unless further restricted than other. Note whether lower speed restrictions are effective when the train is restricted in lower speed with the other region with the lower speed governed. The key train will hold the main track when practicable unless the speed of the greater than 10 miles per hour with the authorized with the siding with the auxiliary track. Only cars equipped with the roller bearings will be allowed with the key train. With the reflective defect of the key train with the wayside with the track side with the warning detector visual inspection confirming evidence of the defect with the train must not exceed 30 miles an hour until it has passed over the road next wayside detector delivered with the terminal mechanical inspection. If within the same car, the next detector of the found to be objective that must be set out for the train, unless revealed with the requirement of the setting to do so by the operating of the railroad train dispatch for the crew operating key train over the foreign railroad with the earliest opportunity to notify the foreign railroad train dispatch for the train is a key train defined with the operating railroad. Alright. Section 8, Emergency Response. General requirement. When the emergency occurred, with the safety is first and most important. With the emergency call with the radio. Rules require the look of the fire or vapor cloud. Determine the staff of the crew members in the area. Warning, keep everyone ever at safe distance. 2. When a fire or vapor cloud is visible, take the shipping papers include with the emergency response information. Emergency response good. Move yourself with you and then the other crews up the hill with the upwind with the excavation with the evacuation to distance. Recommend the emergency response guide. Stay over the ditch if it's a low area. Do not smoke or use fuses. To provide a trained dispatcher yard master with the following information available: specific location, emergency station, mile post, near street crossing, type of emergency status of the crew members, cars involved, with including each of the trail initial number of the extent of involvement, for example, the leak and detecting of the fire, surrounding the proximity populated with the local body waters, nearby drainage ditches, storm sewer, the description, terrain, location of the access, weather conditions. Resources necessary to handle the situation. For example, the fire, ambulance, law enforcement agency, the location of the crew number, with the shipping with the will meet arriving emergency response personnel. Once you are in a safe location, identify yourself with the cooperate with the local emergency response personnel as described in section 7-8 of the item 4. Review the shipping paper with emergency response information if necessary for the move of the farthest distance. We're recommended with the information for the emergency response guide or other supplemental emergency response information printed as part of the train list that consists. 3. When no fire or vapor cloud is available, we review the shipping paper that has materials and shipment of the take with the shipping paper that include with the emergency response information, emergency response guide, inspect with the train to identify the rail car for the trail cars and the containers involved with a look for the location and relief of the hazard material. When encountering with the hazard material release, unusual smells, noises during the inspection, avoid with the contact of material that vapor, the move of yourself with the crew numbers uphill and upwind of the evacuation recommendation, emergency response guide with the stay out of ditches and low areas, eliminate the ignition sources, no smoking infusions, warm all bystanders stay away. After completing the inspection, notify the train dispatcher yard master as much of the information is available. The status of the crew members, cars involved with each of the car, initial numbers of the extent of the involvement. For the example, the leak of the derailed or fire, surrounding proximity, populated with the local bodies for the nearby drain, ditch, storm sewer, the description, terrain, location, the access, weather conditions. 4. Resources necessary to handle the situation. Example, the ambulance, law enforcement agency, location of the crew member with the shipping paper with the arriving of the emergency response personnel. Once you're in a safe location, identify yourself and cooperate with local emergency response personnel described in section 8 of the item. Review the shipping paper with emergency response information. And 3. Information if necessary, move the farthest distance or recommended with the emergency response guide. Other supplementary emergency response information printed on the train list consists. Alright, 4. Cooperative local emergency response. Sharing any requested information with the shipping paper with the emergency response personnel. Provide extra copy of the train consists of the train list when available. To note, retain of the waybills copy of the train consists of the train list until you can deliver them to the first railroad manager on the scene. Provide a copy of the emergency response information provided with the shipment. Help an emergency response personnel with identify the cars and combines involved using the shipping paper, the observation, safe location, accomplished list. Give the first railroad manager on scene a description of the incident with indicating the assistance that you provide with the emergency responder. Remain in scene with a safe distance until the railroad manager relieves you. And a railroad spokesperson will handle the discussing of the incident with the media other than non-emergency response personnel. Alright, 6. Handling leaking hazard material shipment. To take these advantages, any sign of the leakage, do not allow hazard material shipment to continue transportation. The leakage is controlled. Note, leaking hazard material may be removed with the property railroad authority only as necessary to reduce or eliminate an immediate threat for the harm of the human health, environment, railroad operations. Movement that each of the leaking hazard material shipment that will require government approval. When necessary to move the leaking hazard material shipment, and use an adequate number of buffer cars between the locomotive and the leaking car to prevent chemical exposure. And then it goes into the appendixes, and that was a book on your United States Hazard Material Instruction for Railroads by the Association of American Railroads, January 4th, 2011.